Okay. Okay. Hi, Ram.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
So after 2 years, we're talking, right?
Yeah, after about more than 2.5 years, actually.
Oh. Mm. Mm. So what is your progress after my coaching to you?
Oh,
Like,
so
I
it
think
has been great, sir. So we can get
you
started.
you
Uh,
started your coaching in 2020, right?
yes,
Yeah. You can start your explanation from there to till today. What is the career progress happened stage by stage,
absolutely. So for
financially
that,
and
I'll give you
professionally?
some, yeah, I'll give you some background, how the career or the job were like previously, and how the coaching went, the personalized one-on-one coaching and the guidance, and then afterwards, like how career switched, the progress after that. So we can talk about the whole thing. So quickly talking about the background. So as you know, I come from computer science background, but I wasn't working completely into IT. So
BTech
though
or
it
MC?
is a BTech
Okay.
bachelor's, like good university, and the
Andhra
another
University,
university.
right?
Yeah.
Mm.
uh, but one thing or the other, I could not stay, I did not join the IT industry in the beginning, and I moved towards staffing, US resourcing, all those roles. Like pretty much,
Mm.
it's a very monotonous role where I'll
Mm.
deal with profiles and the rates and talking to vendors and a very uh,
It
mundane
is
role, like nothing special to do there.
IT fulfillment cycle, right? Basically,
Yes, like resource management, account management,
the position creation onwards till deployment.
yes. So in that, basically, I worked for close to 4.5 5 years by the time
Mm.
I started my training. So I also remember uh, I got in touch 1 year before that, but I did not continue the coaching. And I think I haven't for 1 or 2 days I start started the course, and I discontinued it. But I mean, I still regret that. Career could have started sooner before
Mm.
that. But whatever said, and then after COVID, I got some time, and work from home started, and it's been a while.
It was
I had
during
my own
COVID
job
only,
by
right?
then.
2020, during COVID only, I think.
This is yeah,
2020
after the first week,
September
basically.
somewhere. Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
this is 2020 August is when we started.
Mm. Mm.
So by that time, the industry, the market was bad. I mean, for all the other things, because people were working for remote jobs and everything. A lot of people that I know in the US, they started working for multiple jobs, and and my job really got tough. And again, I decided that okay, this is not working out. I'll move to IT, and then I got in touch with uh, you again, and I mean, we connected. But at that point, I really wanted a change. With my role, it became too monotonous, nothing new to do, nothing exciting to do. And the growth was practically stagnant at that point, in that
Mm.
role. And
Mm.
after getting in touch, basically, when we started discussing in which way to take the career and all those things, right? So
Mm.
we kind of went through a couple options. You suggested a couple of options, either towards complete technical side, or techno and business development side, pre-sales. And based on your observations, you also suggested that, like, I have the communication skills, and while I also can learn technical skills. So you suggested that I move to pre-sales. So we'll talk about the whole process, the whole
Sure,
training
sure, sure.
phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a very interactive like one-on-one training that we had. I still remember like you had two students at that time, like with me
Mm,
alongside. There's also this
mm,
lady. That's also a very interesting story, by the way. Like so I mean, I at least I am from computer science background, like
mm.
but like she's a hardcore core engineer for Triple E, and
Everybody,
she was
I think,
also
electronics.
yeah
Mm.
electronics, and she was
No,
working as that.
she was from non-IT only, like you.
Yeah,
Mm.
yes. So we started working out, and I still remember, like you had a very clear cut plan for all those things, like how to start from the basics, and then every day after those basics, like we go back, try a couple of things, troubleshoot them if there are any issues, and basics like understanding, right from understanding what cloud and DevOps are, basically, like what DevOps as a practice is, and like how cloud is beneficial, or like the advantages
Mm.
for all the public cloud providers out there. So cloud computing, right from the basics, the infrastructure, like how they are set up, the VPCs, their networking, security, like everything. So we went through all those things, and after that, we started working on different tools, like step by step, like
Mm.
IAC tools like Terraform, and again tools like Chef, orchestration tools, and then we had Docker containerization tools, Kubernetes, all those
Mm.
things. So
Mm.
um, we started using GitHub and all those things. We started writing CloudFormation templates. So right from the basic building blocks of cloud computing, like from running instances, like first it was all theoretical, then we moved to the console based, as in the UI based approach, where we go click, we spin up instances, we select the operating systems and everything. And from that point, moving on to IAC, using Terraform or CloudFormation, like giving JSON scripts, or like using the Cloud SDK for GCP. Uh, we started automating all those things, started templatizing all those things, like bringing automation into play. One of the concepts of DevOps there, right? And
Mm.
so one thing which was which really helped was because there was two students at that time. So the kind of tasks, like they were the same simple, like basic tasks that were given for both of us, but at the same time, the implementation, like on which cloud we have to run it, like that was different,
Mm.
right? So
Mm.
we I think we did a lot of things, right? Like we used to set up instances, auto scaling up and down,
Mm.
and then we
Yes, load
had
balancers.
load balancers, so
Mm.
like region based, load based load balancers, and then we deployed a lot of database connectivities, and then running web servers on these instances and all those things. So one thing which really helped was uh, when one person, like was running it on AWS, like I used to replicate the same thing on GCP, like though the
Same scenario.
fundamentals are the same, like, and there are a few differences how AWS functions and GCP functions.
Mm.
A lot of people were not familiar with GCP at that point, like
GCP, yes,
even now
correct. You
it's,
were
it's
only the
growing
one
definitely.
that
Yeah,
time
it's still the
interested.
third biggest provider, right? Like after AWS and Azure. So
Mm.
and GCP was also fun because that was also new to me. Like I know the concept, what to do, but I'll have to figure out a way how it is done inside GCP, right?
Mm.
And
Mm.
like the
Workaround was there,
troubleshooting,
lot of.
yeah. So it became a very interactive and a very interesting coaching class, like where one student works on AWS and I replicate the same on GCP. And if
Mm.
there are any issues, like we all of us would sit together and troubleshoot them,
Mm.
because like though they did not encounter the issue, or like, even if I did not encounter the issue, there are chances that I will encounter it, like, moving on. So you used to make us go through all those things. And one another important thing about all these sessions was we had to go try troubleshoot it for a good amount of time, and then we would come to you, and then you would give us the solution, like, wherever we went wrong, right? So that
where
we
it
had
got
enough
stuck
time
up.
to experiment. Yeah. So we had enough time to experiment, like we tried different approaches, tried to find out where the fault is and everything, and then we would come to you, right? And at the same time, documenting everything was also really helpful, like, so
For presenting.
for presenting, or like, for us to go back to and refer to them, any of those things in general, and as detailed documentation as possible, like, step one, step two, like
Correct.
if there
Design
are
steps.
design steps, like,
Low
and
level.
we used to create those technical design documents for all these things. And so that it like not just going back and documenting it, but it really helped us go back and look out for issues at what stage the issue was. Like, when we backtrack it, like, it's usually maybe we did not give the proper CIDR block numbers, or like, we did not set up the VPN correctly, or like, we did not do the VPC peering correctly, whatever the issue is. Or maybe the other instance is not accepting ingress, like, traffic from outside the internet, like so many things basically. Sometimes maybe we missed an at instance, like, we can keep talking about all the troubleshooting steps, but that so that kind of interactive approach, where we used to try everything on our own and then come back, document it, troubleshoot it, and slowly increasing the complexity of the solution, right? So first it was web based, we use mouse trackpads, and then it was console based, giving keys and their specific formats and everything. And then we started doing things differently, like, even database connectivity is like, from the console, and then load balancers, adding one step every time, like, and then since we had two people using two different the cloud providers, so we also did a VPC peering, like, from this cloud to that cloud, and like kind of connected both of them together, right? And then we moved on to complex use cases, like, deploying uh, all these web servers, load balancers, everything using OpsWorks on AWS.
AWS, basically.
AWS OpsWorks, right? And like it has its own Docker, Kubernetes, everything basically. Uh, so those kind of exercises, it helped really. All of them helped us very well to grasp the main fundamental concepts mainly, right? And the approach to troubleshoot, like, so instead of starting everything from scratch, like, how to backtrack everything. And then like, unfortunately or fortunately, or I would say luckily, basically, even before I finished my course, like, the cloud computing part, like, I got 3 job offers by then. We'll also talk about the whole process, how you guided us through the job process. I'll talk about myself here, but like,
We
right
discussed
from,
about the JDs also, right? Job descriptions,
yes,
what is your
exactly,
eligibility,
yeah,
that eligible roles we discussed, the mock interviews were
yes,
done, kind of thing.
I'll talk about all those things here. Yes,
Mm.
exactly. So basically, what differentiates, like, the training we had from whatever is there outside, right, is mainly, not every time, not like, in 90% of the time, the training that's there outside, or not, I think it's 99% of the time, I've never heard anyone give real life examples, like, real life production issues, like in real life, like, examples, like, I still remember the Flipkart example that you gave for auto scaling up and down, load balancers and everything. So, and like, how the traffic increases on big billion days. So all those things there. And how basically no one has to manage those things. Like, earlier system admins, they should go spin up physical servers. And if there are issues, they have to go troubleshoot, like check all the wires and everything. And if there is a security patch, like, how they have to install it on everything, like cloud provider like solved all of those things in an instant, like using a simple load balancer. And so those things, so you gave all those real life examples on how things work in the background and why they work that way in the background, like, why there are no other alternatives, and like why there are limits to a load balancer, or why there is security to a network, why there is a limited number of CIDR blocks, like all those things. And after that, we started looking out for jobs even before we finished the course, so that by the time we are done with the training, I'll be ready, or like, to take the interviews, or best case scenario, I'll be having a job already by that point. That was the main idea of looking at jobs. And so I remember we used to go through all those JDs, like, to get an understanding of what clients are looking for from a cloud engineer, or like, or from a pre-sales engineer, cloud engineer. We were looking at both the profiles at that time. So they would ask, okay, we need someone with this kind of experience, like they need EKS, or like, Docker experience, or DevOps engineer roles. We were looking at those roles also. Like, someone who can use like Kubernetes, IAC tools, orchestration tools, containerization, but like all those things, right? So we used to go through them, and when we used to go through them, I remember you used to explain like they are looking for this so that they can do this later, right? And like, so that kind of helped us, or like helped me actually get an idea of what kind of profile are they looking for, and why, basically. Like, is it a simple DevOps engineer role, or they're looking for someone focused on networking, or if they're looking for someone focused on like, infrastructure management, setup, and all those things. So those kind of roles. And we started, I think, preparing my resume, I think after second month of the training. By that time, we had even before completing the course, right? Like, I think even for the first phase, the cloud computing part, the DevOps, I think we did 40-50% of my course by then, sir, like around
Yeah,
that.
more than 60%.
60% roughly, right? Yeah. I mean, we did not, like, even before going into the deeper concepts of DevOps and all those things,
Yes.
I we started applying, and like we got the offers and everything. So I'll talk about that also in detail. But before that, August is when I started, and by November, I had two offers in hand, and by December, I had the third offer. So I, and in between, like you suggested that, like, instead of a cloud engineer or an architect role, like, I lean more towards the pre-sales part,
Right,
like
right.
technical.
Mm.
So
The
that's when we started
reason,
focusing on those roles.
the reason why I told is most of the fulfillment jobs are related with pre-sales. You go to the client, you show the profiles for placement purpose. That is one way. Another way is client also gives the positions to fill up. Then you're going to get the profiles and screening them, interview conducting with technical
Hmm.
teams. Then later on presenting to client. So all these related with pre-sales also, most of them. Then I felt your
Hmm.
skills can be reused by a company if you learn little bit technical things in cloud or single or multi-cloud. Then I suggested it because the I can tell you There are so many blind recruiters. There are so many blind recruitment managers in the IT industry. I have experienced it, and my people also experienced it. They don't see what they learned it, what are the activities suitable for their current role. They don't bother it. They
Hmm.
see you never worked in the IT role. First of all, you are not eligible. Right away they will say. Let us say if one person has got
Hmm.
gap, uh, 1 or 2 years, then he is trying for job after his graduation passed out after 2 years. Then they say, you why you did not get after passing out job. It is not his mistake. It is not this guy's
Hmm.
mistake. There are so many issues
Hmm.
happens in the life, right? So how you are going to fill up those things? So this is the way I felt. Let me educate the non-IT guys also and bring
Hmm.
them into IT and showcase them with their past experiences. Even if you see that
Hmm.
other girl she attended with you, she is well placed, well settled in top-notch MNC today in Bangalore. Okay, with
Yeah.
promotion also.
Yeah. See, recently she
So
got a promotion also
yes, yes, obviously.
as a
So
lead.
everybody, you also got promotion in your past
Yeah.
full career. Now you upgraded your scale with new company also, right? So
Yeah.
her background was test compliance engineering. So that company
Hmm.
looked into QA area, QA skills. So that's where we educated the recruiters through these POCs or proof of concept activities.
Hmm.
In reality, you might have experienced what is proof of concept is a new activity client need to implement. You are bringing some kind of tasks to showcase that this can be done this way, kind of. The same thing we have done with AWS and GCP services and profile you in the market.
Hmm.
That's where it
Yes.
happened.
Yes.
So, yeah, please continue.
Yeah. So yeah. So in between, we started looking for the pre-sales roles, like as with your suggestion and all those things, right? So that and I'll briefly talk about the uh, interviews, like making me like preparing me for the interviews, like
Mm-hmm.
uh, instead of handing over a questionnaire saying, okay, these are the interview questions, like these they might ask on cloud computing. So like I it really helped when you kind of explained, okay, for this experience, these are the kind of questions that they might ask. Like they're looking for someone like this, like someone who has some good infra experience, with some database experience, who did like a lot of IAC using these tools, whatever, right? So that really helped to understand like what they're looking for from a role and what they expect on, like what kind of questions they might emphasize on in the interview, like rather than it might say cloud engineer or a DevOps engineer or a pre-sales engineer, but there are a few things which they're expecting, like from that person, like maybe some kind of industry experience or a tool experience or a technology experience, whatever. um, all those things. And I also remember we recorded all our sessions that we did,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
So that we have them handy for the future, and like for us to go back and look, okay, what happened or what we did. And we started preparing the resume, right?
Mm.
So when we started preparing the resume, we used all the right keywords, like you mentioned. The recruiters, they do not
Mm.
differentiate,
Correct.
like see, I can say a principal consultant slash GCP,
Mm.
right? And
Mm.
senior consultant or whatever. And
Mm.
as long as they don't see a cloud engineer in that role, they think it's a misfit.
Mm. There will be
Those
scanners
kind of,
also. Recruiters use that, right? In the
yeah,
resume, they scan with the scanners also.
the scanners, like they search with
Mm.
keywords and all those
Yes,
things.
yes, yes.
And like how to use the, like, sadly, like because they don't go through the resumes, we'll also have to play by their rules, right?
Mm.
Like we have to also use the keywords, like uh, adding them is obviously important, but like knowing the game makes all the difference, like in how it is played.
Mm.
Uh, we articulated everything we did in our sessions and our training recordings and all those things. We articulated everything well, and we made sure all of those things are captured and
Mm.
you suggested that we use all those links, the video links,
Mm.
like a description, like okay,
Yeah.
this is the POC for load balancer, this is the
Mm.
POC for this thing. Hmm.
Let us complete in 10 minutes here because we have scheduled this call for 25, 30 minutes only from Zoom.
Oh, sure. Yes. So
Sorry
yeah,
for that.
we're done. Like,
You
after
can
this,
you
we'll
can
talk
now
about
continue your job offer, first job offer, then progress in the job, how it happened, now how you landed up in the high paid salary job or in the
yeah,
role. Just let us close it.
absolutely, sure.
Sure.
Like right from
Yeah.
prepping the resume to like feedback from the interviews and everything. So
Mm.
ultimately, I landed up with this job with my old company as a cloud
Uh,
pre-sales
what was
sales engineer.
the uh, hike you got it from the recruitment side to the uh, GCP pre-sales role?
So that was
Percentage.
an 85% hike,
How much?
85% hike from my previous company.
No, not
Uh,
the first job in cloud.
the first job, yeah,
Uh,
the
you got,
first job, but it was an 85% jump, like
no, no,
from
no, 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 not current job. I'm asking after coaching from the recruiter job to IT job. What was the percentage you got increment? More than
so percentage.
130%, I think. More than 130%, right? That time?
So that's
As per
close to 115, 120%, I think.
okay, 120%, let us say. So
Yeah.
after that,
So that,
how these were useful for job handling, our coaching methods.
yeah, the coaching methods basically, like, since it was all real-time scenarios, real-time examples, what is expected
Mm,
from a
mm,
company,
mm,
right? So like initially it was not all alien language to me, or like it's not an alien like environment to
mm,
me. Like I know
mm,
what they're expecting, like, and I know
mm,
what I should deliver. Like, but since it's a new, like, and it's a complete 180-degree jump, like
mm,
it's a turn. So though they were asking me something, like I know what they want, there's a delay, like there's a gap, or
mm.
it would
How
take.
did you compare your colleagues with your knowledge?
Okay, when we compare colleagues with my knowledge, like they come from different backgrounds, and most of them from computer science, but they don't have the real-time experience I went to the job with.
Mm,
So it's kind of like that's what I also realized within a company. When someone is focused on something, like they only focus on that, like they don't see the bigger picture, they don't see the process outside
mm,
their process,
mm,
what
mm,
it's connecting to, what is
mm,
leading to their process, like or the bigger
mm.
picture in general, like so if they're working on databases, they only look at that. If they're working on something else, they only look at that.
But
But
you are grouped here for multiple tasks
yes, like
during
looking
our
at the
coaching.
overall architecture, like we also used to draw the architecture diagrams, like
Mm,
using draw.io and all those things,
mm,
3D diagrams. So all those things, and like it did not take a lot of time for me to like
catch
catch
up
up
the
to the real.
activities.
Yeah, like that happened in like 3 to 4 months. Like I was up to speed and
Mm.
performing more than what they were expecting me to perform.
Being non-IT person, you could take 2 to 3 months only to cope up with the role requirements.
Yeah, like, and we are talking about not just cloud computing requirements, we're talking about proper analytics and artificial intelligence requirements,
In GCP, yes.
right?
Yes.
And like we're talking about model building, prediction models, analytic models, like
Mm,
visual quality inspection models, document understanding models, like
mm,
very way too deep into AI and all those things, to a point
mm,
where it kind of helped me reach, like within the team, reach a role where uh, uh, they realize that I lean more towards the research part of it, like
mm,
mapping solutions to problems, like
mm,
all those things. So,
mm.
and they put me to that side within
Mm.
I think after 1.5 year,
Right.
and then gave me a team. They made me a manager in the same thing. And from the time I joined till I time I left, that was an 85% hike.
Okay.
like
The
from the
current the
company.
current new job and the previous company job, 85% change.
No. So that is
No.
again a different jump.
Okay.
So from my
So
non-IT
what was
job,
the 85% from where?
so 85%, my previous company from in this 2.5 years, that was my growth.
Oh, within 2.5 years, the company raised you for 85% scaling up
Yeah,
salary.
yeah.
Okay,
And I
okay.
was
Your
up for
skills.
another appraisal. Before that, I moved on to a different
Good,
company.
good, good.
But
Okay,
so for
yeah.
2 years, it was an 85% appraisal there.
Now,
And
what
then,
is the new company raised?
yeah, so this one is again from this is a 65-70% rise again, like at this point,
Okay, okay.
with an
What?
option to take it to 90 to 95%. Like they added an incentive component to it. So if like that's close to no, sorry, that is a 110-115% hike again this time, sir.
Okay, okay.
Like if I
So
include the variable.
overall, if you see, uh, the growth happened, you feel like it is very fast by joining the IT field with cloud technologies, cloud and DevOps technologies in pre-sales area. Or if you compare with your old role, non-IT fulfillment cycle, where you would have been there.
So in my non-IT role, like so one thing is basically like jumping from an under 10 lakh salary, like reaching 10 is a different game, right?
Hmm.
Like you can reach that
Non-IT.
quickly,
Hmm.
non-IT or IT also in general, but in general. So like, like the slowdown starts from there unless you are skilled, unless you are upskilling yourself, like there will be
Hmm.
no growth there.
Hmm.
So if I compare my 4.5 years or 5 years, actually 5 years of
Hmm.
non-IT that I did. So
Hmm.
in those 5 years, basically, it's only short of like 1-2 months for 5 years. So
Okay.
in that whole time, it was only 100% growth,
Okay. Okay.
right?
So
It
growth
it will
happened
be
very
100%.
fast with those technologies, GCP and AI technologies, basically.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
like even after joining, I've been consulting you, I've been taking your guidance and like what to do, what step, like how to do it, and you've been guiding me throughout. So that also really helped, even with the new job, like
Hmm.
uh, what to expect from it, and like what kind of roles to pick
Hmm.
as a next step, and
We have
all those things.
2 minutes only, 1.5 minutes.
We're almost
So I
done,
have
Spin.
questions actually.
Yeah.
If any non-IT person like you, very proactive guy, hardworking guy, want to
Hmm.
take up this coaching, what are the suggestions you give it to him?
Oh, absolutely. I would suggest them
In short, you can
100%.
tell. In short.
Yeah, 100%. Like, so if they are really serious about their careers, like, making a shift and like rather than wasting money outside, like,
Hmm.
I did that. A lot of people did that. We had our own experiences outside. There's no point. Like, theoretical knowledge, I get it from the internet. Like, actual working knowledge, guidance, like, right from choosing the role, like, making a resume, profile,
Did you
everything.
feel you
I would
work like in
100%
the live
suggest.
jobs during your coaching compared with the live roles also when you worked with the companies?
Sorry, sir, what was it?
No, did you compare our live tasks experience with your job roles or your
Yeah,
colleagues'
yeah.
job roles? Is it the similar one or same one or kind of thing?
This is so much better actually, like the real life examples and everything
Which
what you provided.
my coaching was better.
Yeah, obviously there's no doubt
Hmm.
about it.
Okay,
And
good, good,
also
good,
your
good.
almost 3 decade experience, it really helped. And I
Yeah,
can see
good,
from
good,
my
good.
non-IT job, this is
Hmm.
a 400% rise at this point.
Okay, okay. Very good. We're going to get closer call this one. I appreciate you
Yeah,
coming for this call. I really uh, congratulate you for second
thank you,
jump.
sir.
Second jump.
Yeah, I
This
should
is
thank you actually. Yeah,
profile.
yeah,
Second jump. Basically, that is also drastic jump. Nobody expected you to grow this way in 3 years' time in IT industry, right?
hmm,
So I'm feeling proud to be my participant of my coaching, and I
thank you.
wish you good luck always. To keep growing in the IT industry. Thanks for the call.